everybody, and welcome back to the stream. It's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time for Functional Home Fitness, the day when we do weight training using found household objects, anything that you can find around your house. Ooh, look, I decided today that I would actually be smart and bring my examples of weightlifting objects over by the camera instead of, halfway back in my darkened room that still doesn't have really great lighting for the stream. So, ooh, yes, and we'll get to that. Hi, everybody. Hi, there's a lot of people I'm seeing in the chat, and I'm very excited about that. And many of them are probably there because they know that I'm grumpy, and I'm gonna fucking talk about it. Oh my goodness! I hope everybody's had a good week, though. But I hope that you've had a good week. You've made it through. Recognizing that time feels like it has no meaning. I say this a lot, but I feel more connected to time just because of these streams. Hi! Hello, my dear. Good to see you in there. Look at that nice sword next to your name. That nice mod sword. Time does suck, but sometimes it's okay. You're a mod now. Hey, friends. Man, my last stream on Wednesday, I had my very first experience of being a woman on the internet. And, it says it's incredibly awesome to make sure to be able to say that was my first time really experiencing anything like that. Yes, on Wednesday, there were a couple of really gross folks in the chat, asking me to bend over for the camera and shit like that. And so today you're probably going to get a really extensive lecture on misogyny and the male gaze because, hey, let's talk about how that wasn't okay. And this will be scattered through the class, my friends, and as the the caveat that needs to be said, this is all coming from my personal perspective as a cis, white, mostly het human woman. I recognize that I have a lot of privilege, and particularly I end up with a lot of privilege on the internet as well. There are many who are the subject of far greater amounts of abuse and bile and vitriol. So this is all simply coming from my perspective, but and here's the thing too. I'm not here to shame anyone using the internet to enjoy the sensualness and the sexualness of their body either. I think that's awesome. I think that people should be comfortable doing that. And there are plenty of platforms for that. And yet, this is not one of them. This is an exercise class. We are all here to be working out and, feeling strong and supporting each other and, getting our bodies healthy, getting our minds healthy so that we can go out and be the badasses in the world that we want to be. And when you come into a stranger's chat and you immediately, and I'm making an assumption, yes, an assumption, but I don't think it's a bad assumption that these guys were cis het dudes. When you come into a stranger's chat and start making really gross sexualized comments at them, that's not okay. And I haven't had to deal with that yet, which, part of my brain really wants to, silver lining it and be like, okay, well, the community's growing enough that I guess I need to worry about moderating my chat. But, it's not okay. It's not okay to show up in a stranger's chat and talk like that. Even if you're a friend of mine, I don't really want you talking like that in the chat either. Even if you talk with me like that in real life, which I don't really think that I have many friends that I do, but some. But this is a place where, we're gathering together. I'm trying to teach. I'm trying to, take people through exercise and through class. And, I'm not here to fucking bend over for you assholes. So there is now a zero strikes policy in my chat. If you come into my chat and you say something gross like that, you're getting auto banned by either me or one of the many loved ones that watch the stream who now have lovely swords next to their names. So, yeah, hey, if you're here to learn and to exercise, awesome. If you're here to be gross, fuck right off to a different stream. Man, I'm swearing a lot today. All right, that's the lecture for now. I'm sure it'll keep coming up. Oh man, yes! Amanda's gonna exercise the band hammer. She knows what's up with the band hammer. Hell fucking yeah. Consider the first thing they say in the chat. Yeah, well, and we know how some people really don't think about how the fact that the people that they are talking to are actual humans, which is kind of weird because, like, hi, you see me, I am human, obvi. So I don't know how you come into chat and forget that I'm a human, so I just have to assume that you're that gross with every strange woman that you meet, which doesn't make it better. but yeah, if you're coming into somebody's community, into somebody's stream, don't be a dick. I feel like I really, really feel like that is a solid first rule of life in the internet. Don't be a dick. And it probably would be nice to rewrite that in language that's not specific to a type of genitalia, but like it gets the point across right now. Okay? Anyway, we're gonna do class. We're gonna do weightlifting. I know that many people miss their gyms, don't necessarily feel comfortable being back in that space, and I hear you. I have not been back to the gym that I teach in since the last time I taught a class in March. And they're open. They're absolutely open, and I'm glad they're getting people in there, from a business perspective, but I definitely, from a personal perspective, just don't feel comfortable going into those types of indoor communal settings. So, if you have ever picked up something around your house and gone, ooh, I could weightlift with this, then congrats, you should be weightlifting with this. So we have many examples of things. This is my giant laundry detergent bottle, non-sponsored, that I use a lot. Hi, Will. What is Amanda saying? Yeah, tone can't be heard. That's a huge thing for any text-based conversation. And oh man, yeah. I mean, Amanda, I talk about that a lot, about how much I love this space because being in a gym can be super fucking intimidating. So we've got, if you have a laundry detergent bottle, either a more regular looking one or a big Costco of detergent like this, that is something I default to a lot. We've got books. Today I'm using Stephen Sondheim's Finishing the Hat because I'm that theater nerd. A stock pot or backpacks or tote bags are really good. All of those are objects that can be filled with other objects. So if you start doing an exercise with this and you're like, oh, it's not quite as heavy as I want it to be, woo, you can fill it with things. The quick caveat about all of this work, we are doing weight training, but we are not using standard gym weight training equipment. We're not using dumbbells or kettlebells, aka things that have their exact amounts of weight written on them. So we are not going to be able to load ourselves as accurately and as carefully as we could in a gym. So especially if this is your first time in class, I want you to err on the conservative side. Go lighter than maybe you necessarily think that you should. Test that out for a set. We're going to be going through everything 4 times, so you'll have plenty of times to come back to each exercise, but test on the lighter side. And if you get to the end and you're like, okay, I can add a little weight, then start experimenting, get a sense of what different objects that you might use for this class weigh, and file that information away. So next week when you come back, you have a clearer understanding of what level of weight you can be using. But always err on the lighter side. And as with anything where we're doing free weight exercises, particularly arm exercises, Always pitch the amount of weight that you're using towards your weaker side, not your stronger side, okay? We do not want to be doing double arm exercises with the amount of weight that our stronger side can handle, because our weaker side is going to start trying to compensate to perform the exercise. It's going to compensate in unhealthy ways, and that's how we end up injuring ourselves. So safety first, safety first, safety first. Now let's do our pre-class checklist. All right, I still haven't washed my water bottle from the beetle incident on Wednesday, so I'm still using a pint glass, but have some sort of a vessel with water in it, and make sure to be drinking that water consistently through class. You will have plenty of opportunities. We got our comfy clothes on, whatever that means to you. We've got our mat situated, or a mat-sized amount of space. And if you use a fitness wearable, now's the time to turn it on. I use the strength training setting for this class because we're not doing anything super high intensity today in terms of cardio work. This is all going to be focused on strength. So everybody's got that set up. And if you've been to class before, you know where we're going next. We're going over to our mats for our warm-up sequence. Woo! Also, since I don't think any of you were in class on Wednesday, look at the new glasses. I can see they don't fall off my face. Look, I'm looking down at the floor and they're not falling off of my face. Oh, the beetle incident. I'll tell you that in a little bit. We need to start warming up. I'll tell you during the warm-up. All right, so we are gonna do our usual warm-up sequence. So everybody head on over to your mats and lie down on your back with one foot crossed over the opposite knee. And as soon as you hear the timer go off, we will start with our hip rocks and bridges. So, oh God, that was real loud. Did you hear that timer go off? I'm pretty sure they heard that timer go off, 5 apartments down the row. All right, yes, the beetle incident was on Wednesday. I went to fill my water bottle as I was about to start the stream, and I opened it up because it was closed, and I looked inside, and there was like a tiny bit of water at the bottom from the last time I had taught, and swimming around in that water was some sort of beetle-like bug. I don't know what it was. I am not, hip to bug breeds beyond the obvious ones. That probably in retrospect should have been a pretty obvious omen for the way that the rest of class was gonna go. All right, switch feet, keep doing the hip rocks and bridges. But yeah, so I dumped the old guy outside, and then I decided that I didn't necessarily want to use the water bottle until I'd had the chance to wash it. So thankfully, one of the other benefits about doing class in our living rooms is that our living rooms are frequently attached to our kitchens, and our kitchens have many, many different vessels with which to hold water. So I just pulled down a pint glass. But yeah, it does feel, looking back on that, because I honestly had forgotten that happened until I was getting ready for class today, and went, oh, time to fill up my water bottle. Oh, wait. But it does kind of feel like it was some sort of a portenty thing. All right, we're rolling onto our sides. Nice straight line of the body. We're doing our best Jane Fonda impression. This is the first of 3 leg exercises on this side before we move to the next side. So please do not roll immediately over, okay? Let me move over here slightly. I just want to make sure my legs are not getting lost behind the laundry detergent bottle. Yeah, it was... I was rattled, my friends. I have never had that happen before on the internet. And, part of it is just I've never put myself in a position before to be particularly high or even medium profile on the internet. But yeah, it was, and it wasn't one person, it was 2. You know, there were two different, well, I suppose it could have been one person with two different accounts, but that seems like a lot of work for griefing somebody on their stream. All right, top foot's in front of the bottom knee. We're lifting that bottom leg. And I just felt so gross, you know, because it is not like, I felt very alone, you know, I felt very alone. I didn't know how to deal with it. I had not yet figured out how to ban people in chat, because that literally had never been an issue. Like, I don't usually even have people in chat who I don't know personally in the real space. So I've never had to think about, like, how do I want to deal with chat moderation? And it just made me feel really gross. And like, I ended class much earlier than I was planning to. You know, I had planned to do a whole stretching sequence at the end, because obviously, you know, I do a lot of stretching sequences. I try to do one at the end of every class, and I was like, I have to stop. I have to get off the stream. I can't keep going right now. And it made me feel, you know, so grossly objectified. And yeah, I guess good to have that initial experience so that I can start building up the tolerances that I will need. But you know what? Quite frankly, that should not be a calculus that I have to make. All right, now we're going over to our other side, and we are doing our best Jane Fonda. I'm not wearing my glasses, so hopefully y'all can still see my face. Yeah, you can see my face. Okay, there we go. See, clearly I need the glasses. Yeah, that's not a calculus that anybody should have to make, you know, but there are too many people who approach the internet as sort of this free-for-all place where nothing that they say or do matters. And it does matter, you know? There are real people on the other end of that. I am quite obviously a real person, you know? And your words and your actions have an impact on me. And yeah, it was very sobering, because I love doing this stream. I love doing these classes. This is something that I really want to keep doing and keep building up. All right, foot in front of that bottom knee, still lifting that bottom leg, or lifting it again. And Wednesday just made me realize that, you know, if that is truly something that I want to keep working on, and it is, then this kind of armor is going to be a fact of my life. It's going to be something that I will have to build up and maintain. And it's a really disappointing thing to realize. It's a really, really disappointing thing to realize. And, you know, I am incredibly lucky to have so many supportive people in my life who all, you know, comforted me and sort of calmed me down a little bit. You know, I have several friends who are streamers themselves, and my friend Cassie gave me excellent advice about making some of my trusted friends and regulars mods, so that they can apply the ban hammer if I'm over here teaching. And I obviously have taken advantage of that, but it's just, yeah, that was the first time that I had felt disappointed with this work, and disappointed, you know, it is sad. It is sad to have that really unignorable evidence that as I keep doing this, and as we, you know, build our community, as we become more visible, this is gonna be a thing that I have to pay attention to. And it sucks, you know? So, yeah, it was icky. It was icky, and I've definitely spent the last couple of days feeling kind of icky about it. All right, on to our stomachs. We're doing our scorpion twists. Ooh, I just cracked a hip. That was really nice. Remember to keep your forearms pinned to the ground as you do this twist. They are not moving anywhere. If you twist over here and you're like, look, I got my foot flat on the floor, I got my knee pointing up towards the ceiling, and all I had to do was lift my elbow off the ground, then you're not doing the exercise correctly, and you can't twist that far yet. So make sure that you're paying attention to that, because what did we talk about for the bare minimum? Starting on time, stopping on time, and doing the exercise correctly. But I'm glad to be back today, honestly. I was a little worried about how I was gonna feel, but you know, getting back on the stream and with all of you absolutely wonderful people watching and chatting, I can see that. I can see the chat bar just going crazy even though I'm not over there. You know, this is absolutely something I love, and this is absolutely something I'm gonna keep doing. And all the gross assholes can go fuck themselves. Because they're gonna get booted before you can say boo. But yeah, so that's been my week, and it's interesting too that I do keep trying to silver lining this in my head. I keep trying to find the good parts of this experience, you know? The like, oh, well, it'll help me build up my tolerances, and oh, well, at least now I've figured out how to ban people in chat, and I have to keep pulling myself back, and I have to keep going, no, this isn't actually okay, and it is all right for you to feel that and to let yourself experience that. And sure, maybe some positive things come out of it, but that doesn't justify it happening. And that's something that I think that a lot of us struggle with in life. You know, we have, especially in America, especially with our like really weird mix of puritanical beliefs and, you know, that undercurrent of fundamentalist Christianity, there's this tendency towards everything happens for a reason, and, you know, people like the toxic positivity approach of someone is going through something negative, let me force a positive outlook onto them, and it's something that I think we all try and deal with. I remember when I was 5 and I was in my very first dance recital for ballet, and our instructor made us sit in the wings for the entire concert. Our number wasn't until like almost last in the second act, and our instructor made us sit in the wings the whole time, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I said that, and she wouldn't let me go. She made me stay, and so we started the piece, and I peed on stage. You know, my mom had to come up onto the stage and carry me off and took me into the bathroom, and she always tells me this story, and I remember saying it, but I loved getting her perspective, because, you know, I was in a stall trying to clean myself up, and she was standing outside it and, you know, doing that like comforting mom approach of, you know, it's okay, Blanche. And little 5-year-old me from the stall just went, no, it is not okay. And my mom always talks about being like, you know what, you were absolutely right, it wasn't okay. And that's the kind of, you know, the wisdom I had at age 5 is what I aspire to have at age 36, where I can look at something shitty that happened and not try to silver lining it for myself. Just allow myself to look at it and go, nah, that's not okay. It's not okay that it happened, and I don't have to be okay about it. You know, I will obviously work through it. I will gain knowledge. I will gain strength, because that's what I try to do. But it is not okay, and it shouldn't have happened. And that is a good lesson, I think, for all of us to take through life, you know, because it becomes relevant in so many situations, in so many places where we're in unhealthy situations and we're just trying to justify it to ourselves and justify why it's okay. And it's not. So if you've been experiencing that, I hereby apply to be the voice in your head that pipes up every time you are trying to make yourself feel okay about something really awful that's happening. I volunteer to be the voice in your head that goes, no, it's not okay, and you do not have to be okay with it. All right? So I just want to be everybody's like subconscious voice that reminds you when you're awesome, which is all the time, and reminds you to take care of yourself, which means listening when you are feeling like you are being taken advantage of or mistreated or are just in a situation that is overall not healthy for you. It is okay to acknowledge that you are not okay and that the situation is not okay. And it is okay to take steps to try and change your situation and get yourself out of that unhealthy place. So let's all endeavor to be that for each other, because just like sometimes we need an external voice to help us with our exercise, we need external voices to help us with our mental health, you know? Sometimes you can say something to yourself over and over again, but we're really good at disbelieving our own voices. Sometimes we do need that external voice to speak up and be like, hey, you deserve to be cared for and listened to and supported and taken care of. Yeah. Oh. Love you all. Love you all so much. What a wonderful stream this is. See, this is already making me feel so much better. And yes, if you have a Costco membership, I got my eyes checked at Costco. $95 for like glasses prescription and general checkup. And then I got these frames plus lenses with all the coatings that they used to try and upsell me on. Grand total of $120, and that's without having any vision insurance. And I was like, I mean, considering that with insurance, I've had pairs of glasses that absolutely ran me $300, I will take this and run for the hills. So, woohoo. All right. Yes, we are sending, Amanda, I am still sending you all the vibes, obviously. You know that. You know that. All right, my friends, we're here for weight training, so let's lift some weights. Yeah, just flex into your camera for a second. Yeah. So we're going to have our usual setup. We've got 4 exercises. We've got 4 exercises that we're going to do, and we're going to have 2-minute timers. And you will have a set number of reps that you will do of the exercise. You'll do them all in a row without stopping, and then you will use the rest of the timer as a rest period, okay? You'll drink water, stretch out if you feel the need to, chill, and then there'll be a knock, knock, knock sound, which is our universal get ready because the next exercise is coming sound. And you'll get yourself set up so when that horn goes off again, you are ready to go with the next exercise. And we're just going to go through that 4 total times. So each exercise we'll go through 4 times. Several of these are exercises where we will need to switch sides. So you'll do 2 intervals on one side, 2 on the other. So you will need to remember which side you've already done so that you're not repeating yourself, okay? All right, what are the exercises, Blanche? So, oh God, oh no, my poor book. The first exercise is a slightly different structure from what I just described. Actually, we've got 2 exercises out of the 4 that are not going to be rep-based, okay? They're going to be time-based. So the first one is called a farmer's carry. And we're going to do this one arm at a time. So you want to have a nice, pretty heavy weight, but again, pitching towards what your weaker side can manage, not your stronger side. So my left arm is my weaker side, so I always need to make sure that it can handle the amount of weight. And we're going to hold that weight just down at our sides, sort of slightly out from our bodies, okay? It's not touching my leg. My arm, my shoulder is fully engaged holding this weight. I'm letting this other arm come out a little bit just so that I can maintain the straightness of my body, because what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be walking around my space, heel to toe, basically. Obviously, I'm sort of coming at the camera. So this is a weird one, and an easy way to manage it is just walking along the length of your mat, and when you get to the end, just turn and go back in the other direction. So for this one, since it's not repetition based, it's not rep based, I'll just say try to go for a full minute. I will tell people when a minute is done in the timer, and then you can use, if you really feel like you need to stop there, use the rest of the timer for rest. You can keep going a little bit if you want to. Just always recognize that however long you go, you'll have less overall rest time, okay? Second exercise is going to be the single leg dumbbell bridge. I use the term dumbbell because it's the traditional term for a lot of these exercises, even though we are not using dumbbells. So this is another exercise where we are switching sides a lot. So I am lying on my back, feet flat on the floor, and I've got whatever the weight is resting on my pelvis, okay? So I'm using the laundry detergent bottle. I've got my hands on it to stabilize it. And I'm going to lift one leg in front of me, and then I'm just going to bridge up and down and up and down and up and down, okay? So you'll do all of the reps on that side, and when you come back around to that exercise, you'll lift the opposite leg and you'll continue bridging up and down and up and down. I should not use that as something I can push off of to stand up. Lesson learned. Okay. Then we are going to do a 1 dumbbell front raise. And so I'm going to use the stock pot for this. Normally I would use, if I was using gym equipment, I would have a dumbbell and I would sort of hold it between my hands like this. So the stock pot is not a perfect replacement, but it does the job it needs to do. And I'm going to show you from the side, just because when I lift this thing up, you can't see my face anymore. So we're just going to take a nice stable stance. My feet are between hip and shoulder width apart. I've engaged my core, engaged my glutes, so I'm really stabilizing my entire trunk. And I'm just going to be lifting the stock pot up to about where my arms are parallel with the floor, and then bringing it down and up and down and up and down, okay? And then for our fourth exercise, which also does not have reps, we're going to be doing a wall sit, holding a book and turning. So here's what I mean. Find a chunk of wall or a chunk of something that you can push your back up against. You're taking that wall sit, and if I show you from the side, I want 90 and 90, okay? So 90 degrees between back and quads, 90 degrees between quads and shins. And when you're in that position, just have a book that you can hold out in front of you. So we've got Stephen Sondheim in front of us. If you want to add even more, then you can twist from side to side like that. I'm not going to do that because this is not quite enough wall for me to be fully stable. So I'm just going to hold that position. But if you do want to add a little bit of oblique action in there, then you can twist side to side. All right, so those are our 4 exercises. We've got the farmer's carry, we've got the single legged dumbbell bridge, 1 dumbbell front raise, and the wall sit holding weight in front of us. So everybody head over to your mats, take that last preparatory sip of water, and get ready, because as soon as you hear that timer go off, you will be doing your farmer's carry. All right, so as I said, I want you to try to do this for a full minute at least. I'm going to tell you when a minute has gone by. If at that time you're like, okay, I am really done, then that's good. You can take the rest of the remaining minute as rest time. If you feel like you can go a little longer, that's awesome. Just remember that you will not have as much rest. And as we're walking back and forth, core engaged, again, I want to keep my body straight. You can even push your chest forward a little bit, all right? And that helps to balance you out as well and to keep you from twisting. You don't want to let the weight drag you in its direction, okay? That's the main thing. That's the reason that I focus on the core so much. All right, that is not the timer I wanted to run. All right, you guys are good. You guys are good. Keep, you've had a minute go by, so we're gonna have a slightly longer rest this time, but you've had a minute go by. My apologies. But yeah, when we're doing this farmer's carry, when we're doing anything that's using a really heavy weight, what we do not want to do is let the weight team up with gravity to pull us in a direction that we don't want to go. So when we're talking about muscle engagement, what's happening is I activate a muscle fiber and it goes, oh, cool, I've been activated. It's time for me to contract now, because that is what your muscle fibers naturally want to do. They want to contract. Whether or not they do depends on how much external force I'm applying, okay? And so what I mean by that is if I'm holding this weight and I activate my bicep muscle fibers are like, okay, I want to contract. Whether or not they can depends on whether their contraction is stronger than the force being exerted by this outside object, aka the weight, okay? So when we talk about the difference between concentric and eccentric muscle actions, an eccentric or lengthening muscle action is when the force that is being applied to the muscle fiber externally is greater than the muscle fiber's force in trying to contract. And so instead of contracting, it ends up lengthening, okay? That's why with a lot of stretches, we want to move into them. All right, that's the knocking sound. So let's get into position for our dumbbells. Oh my God, number of reps, 20 to 30, okay? 20 to 30. Thank goodness we started with an exercise that didn't require a number of reps. But yeah, one of the reasons when we are doing static stretching at the end of class, one of the reasons that we want to move into the stretch pretty slowly is because if I'm trying to, fold myself over my legs and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna flop over and really fold into that stretch immediately, I will activate my hamstrings. My hamstrings will go, oh my God, we're working. And what are they gonna try to do? They're gonna try to contract, because lengthening is not what an activated muscle fiber naturally wants to do. So that's why instead of just flopping into the stretch or really pushing yourself quickly, you want to move slowly so that the muscle stretches out without ever feeling like it needs to engage right off the bat. Engage. So yeah, a little bit of an anatomy lesson there, but it's important information. And we talk about muscle soreness and what causes it, and I know many of you have probably heard that it's lactic acid buildup, and that's certainly one of the theories, although it's not quite as cut and dried and accepted as it used to be. Another theory is that muscle soreness is caused by micro tears in the muscle. All right, getting ready for our 1 dumbbell front raises, again, 20 to 30 reps, caused by micro tears in the muscle fibers, and eccentric or lengthening muscle actions have a tendency to cause those more frequently because, as I said, muscle fiber is trying to contract, being forced to lengthen instead, and that interplay causes micro tears. So, it's the beauty and the frustration of fitness science is that we are still learning things all the time. There is still so much that we do not fully understand about our bodies, about their movement, about the systems that power them, and but even from what we do know, it's like it's amazing that we are able to move at all. It is really, if you ever have the chance to do even high level examinations of anatomy, fitness anatomy, it is so interesting just to see the number of steps that have to happen and happen really quickly just to get a single muscle fiber to move, let alone an entire bunch of them, let alone an entire limb of your body or several. There's just so much that has to happen. And it's really interesting to learn about. Oh my goodness. All right, my friends, we are coming close to the last exercise, which means that soon, once we're done with this wall sit, we will be circling back to the farmer's carry. So we're first doing our wall sit. I'll hold the book like this so you can still see my face. And I'll tell you when a minute has gone by in the timer. But yes, once we're through this, we'll go back to the farmer's carry. So make sure that you remember what legs and what arms you did things with, so that you can switch back and forth and make sure that you are evening yourself out. All right. I have a lot of friends who were fencers in college, and you know, fencing is a really great sport and also a really great way to have completely offset strength and power on the different sides of your body. It's very confusing. All right, a minute has gone by. So if your wall sit has been progressively trembling more and more, feel free to stand and take the rest of this timer as rest. Make sure you're drinking your water, okay? Important. Must hydrate. I've definitely been feeling like I haven't been hydrating appropriately in the last few days. And it's interesting because it's also possible that some of what I'm feeling is more just there are 4 wildfires raging in the state and the air quality is not all that awesome right now. But when in doubt, I go for water, because it is very rare, not impossible, but very rare that we overdrink on water. All right, we are coming back around to our farmer's carry. All right, so remember, you're holding the weight out a little bit from your side, and you have engaged everything in this arm. All right, we're not letting the weight drag our shoulder down. Our shoulder is engaged, it is stable, it is strong, and it is managing that weight. And all of that is true for all of the musculature going down the arm, through the wrist, into the hand, gripping the handle of whatever you are using for the farmer's carry. Remember that your other arm can be out a little bit to balance you out, so that having this heavy weight on one side is not causing you to, like, a hip going in one direction, your chest, you know, trying to compensate in the other direction. So you want a nice straight line of the body. Let this other arm going out be that counterbalance, okay? But do not let the heavy weight pull you out of alignment. All right, it has been a minute, so just so you know, for your rest purposes, I'm gonna come over here and, oh yeah, ooh, stretching the legs. Which one, I wonder? PI2 radians. You're gonna have to explain that later when you're not doing a farmer's carry. Yeah. Oh man, I do love teaching this class, my friends. All right, so we are coming close to our second run of single leg dumbbell lifts. So again, make sure that you are switching the leg that you're using. You're going for 20 to 30 reps, and you want to do all the reps in a row, okay? I realize that sometimes I don't. Sometimes I will split things up. You know, I'll be doing my reps, and then I'll want to stop and talk to you a little bit, and then I'll go, oh, I want to do a few more reps. Like, do as I say, not as I do, okay? You want to, the whole reason that we have the timer set up this way is so that you can do all of the reps and have that rest time built in, so that we're not moving from muscle group to muscle group and never fully resting any of them, okay? So just always pay attention to that. I can feel the film of laundry detergent. It's such a good weightlifting object, but every time I use it for laundry and I get soap on it, I'm like, oh God, I have to clean it off now. I have to clean off my laundry detergent bottle. Who does that? Oh well. This is, what we do for weight training at home without equipment. And technically, obviously, I do have a couple of dumbbells that I could be using, but I think at some point I will give myself a little bit of free weight equipment, but I am, for now, totally fine with just doing our wild and crazy, what can I use to weightlift today approach. And honestly, weightlifting has never been like my primary focus point as a fitness professional. All right, coming back around to the single dumbbell front raise. So, I very much prefer doing the body weight classes, which, I feel like ties into the fact that most of my fitness activity through my life has been through dance, obviously, primarily body weight activity. And so that's what I tend to default to. And I do like getting to learn more about free weight exercises because it's not an area that I've really studied heavily over the years. But it's also, I think, never going to be in first place in terms of what I enjoy doing and what I default to for teaching. But I know a lot of people really thrive with weight training and free weight training, and it's important. It's an important tool in my toolbox, So every time that I run one of these classes, I'm learning a little bit along with you guys, which is really awesome. Oh man, it feels nice to be here on a Friday, just sort of weightlifting our way into the weekend. Weightlifting our way into the weekend and just looking forward to whatever we're going to do with the rest of the night. Take a nice shower, make a nice dinner. I'm going to make cookies tonight because the last time I made cookies, it went extremely well. And I want more cookies because they were awesome. Hey, coming back around to that wall sit, grab your book or whatever weight you are using to hold in front of you. It does not have to be a heavy weight considering the rest of the exercise. Remember too that if you do want to add a little bit of added difficulty, you can add in the twists like that, a little bit of oblique action, it's not required. So if you're sitting there going, oh my God, I can barely just maintain the wall sit and this book, that's totally fine. For comparison, when you're trying to figure out the amount of weight to hold for this, in my in-person classes, I would have people just hold a stability ball in front of them. So you do not have to hold a super heavy weight in front of you for it to feel really intense really quickly. Some of the most intense exercises I have ever done have used minimal amounts of weights. Anyone who's ever taken an in-person class with me knows of the dreaded roller bar exercise, which is one of the only exercises that I know of that really works specifically your forearms. And obviously, since I was teaching in a rock climbing gym, that is an important consideration. But oh man, it's just a bar with a 1.25 pound circle weight attached to it on a string. And by the end of the exercise, you would swear that that thing was the, you know, the weight of a car. It does not always, we do not always have to pile a bunch of weight on to get really good impacts. All right, my friends, look at us go. We are in our third rotation through these exercises. So we are back to our farmer's carry, back on our first side. Okay, so make sure that you're keeping an eye on which side is which, which I know can get a little tough as we go. Sometimes just having, you know, having a different side of the mat that you leave the weight on, that signals to you, okay, this is the arm that I need to use. That can be really useful. You know, obviously, I don't want you to have to distract yourself from class, but if you need to, you know, write something down, like have a big R and a big L and just make hash marks every time you do the exercise on one of those sides, that's fine too. You know, this class is all about creativity. This class is all about figuring out how I can get the best workout possible with the equipment I have at my disposal, you know, which we're focusing on stuff that most of us have. Most of us have some sort of a bag that we can put stuff in. Most of us have a container of laundry detergent, you know, some sort of a pot. It doesn't have to be an enormous stock pot like that, but that's my point, is we want to open our minds to the objects around our homes that can be used for this work, okay? And if you have objects that are slightly different from the ones that I'm using, that's fine, okay? You're not required to be as enamored of this enormous laundry detergent bottle as I am. This is just the thing that I have in my house that works best for me. But if you have, you know, a tote bag that you fill with books and that works best for you for most of the exercises, then go for it. That's awesome. You know, we want to stimulate our creativity. We want to move beyond our need for the familiar. You know, humans tend to be creatures of habit, and it can be really easy to get derailed when you don't have your exact environment that you are used to utilizing for a specific activity, such as weight training. You know, it's the reason why I used to travel a lot for work, and my fitness routines would get completely upended when I was traveling, and even once I got back, it would take me a while to get myself back into my routine, because while I was gone, I was like, well, I can't do my normal stuff, you know, because I don't have the perfect setup and the perfect weights and the perfect this and that and the other thing, and so I would just do nothing, you know. And my goal with all of these classes is to show you that you truly can get an awesome workout no matter where you are. Even if you're in a hotel room and all you have is a, you know, swatch of carpet the length of a yoga mat, you can still do a class like this. You can still get a really awesome workout without having to, you know, lace on sneakers, try and find where the fitness center is, hope that the equipment is available during the time that you're able to make it there. You know, you can just pop on a stream, or even just take the principles that I have taught you in this class and do, you know, build a workout for yourself. And you can really do it from anywhere. You do not have to be in the gym. You do not have to be in a specially designed fitness center. There are advantages, sure, but you know, having the creativity to take space wherever and however we find it to do this work just gives us more power over our fitness. It gives us more power to be able to maintain a healthy practice of movement for our bodies, you know, because that's what it's all about. We want to be mobile. We want to have the power and the strength to live our lives in the way that gives us the most pleasure, you know, and for some of us, that is the ability to run up the side of a mountain. And for others, it's the ability to bike commute to work without getting totally wiped out. And for others, it's the ability to, you know, still walk easily up and down stairs, even though you're 70, you know, or be able to lift your grandkids up, even when they're, you know, toddlers and squirming balls of 50 pounds or more. How much do toddlers weigh? I honestly don't remember. But that's our goal. Or let me rephrase. That's my goal. That's what I want to work on with you. You know, and that's what I always hope to demonstrate in these classes. You know, I'm not here to teach you how to be an Olympic athlete. I'm not here to, you know, get you to the size of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I'm here to be your companion as you use exercise as a tool in your toolbox for a healthy life, both physically and mentally. And I love doing it. Yeah! Everybody's doing so well. All right, it's been a minute, so you can come to the end of that wall sit if you need to. Oh, man. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, sit out the wall sit if your knee isn't happy. Definitely. You should do rock climbing. It is a ton of fun. I really do miss it, honestly. And even I hadn't done it in a while because my shoulder had been so bad. And now, of course, my shoulder's much stronger and I feel like I could go back to it, but now, you know, I don't feel comfortable going into the gym. But I do highly, highly recommend rock climbing as an activity, either indoor or outdoor. It is just so much fun. So much fun. So I miss it. Someday we get to do it again. Oh man. Hey, we are here for our last run through these exercises. So here is our last farmer's carry. So let's check in. Let's make sure our form is just as good now as it was the first time we did it. So we've got our core engaged. We've got the weight slightly out from our bodies. We've got this arm out so that we're not letting the weight drag our torsos around. So I'm keeping a nice straight line on my body, okay? Nice straight line. We're not letting this heavy thing pull us in another direction. And if you're feeling that it is, if you are not feeling able to maintain this straight position without things going wonky, then you're using too much weight, okay? That is just what it comes down to. So again, because I'm not there in the room with you, I need you to really be able to listen to your body and pay attention to the signals it's sending you, okay? It is one of the most important skills that we can develop, is just an awareness of our bodies, an awareness of their spatial positioning, and an awareness of the sensations that they are experiencing, and an ability to translate those sensations. So you saw Amanda said, okay, I'm not going to do the wall sit because my knee is feeling weird on it. Awesome. Yes, I want you to be able to make that determination, because you know what? At the end of the day, you are the person who is living in your body, and you need to be able to say, okay, I'm feeling this thing. It feels unhealthy. It feels like it might lead to injury, and I need to modify what I'm doing, do a totally different exercise, or maybe take a little time off from exercise, okay? And we hate doing that, and I know, I've done that too. We don't like to give up our routines. You know, there can be a lot of fear that if I stop doing something for even a day, that I'll never be able to restart again. You know, and that can be compounded when people struggle with things like depression or anxiety or ADHD, or, you know, things that do actually make it harder to build and maintain routines. So I understand, I absolutely do. But the thing is, if you injure yourself, that is going to cause far more of a disruption to your overall exercise routine than taking a day off for rest or a week off for rest. And I know how hard that is. But, you know, speaking as somebody who, you know, pushed through, didn't listen to what my body was telling me, ended up with a shoulder injury that got worse and worse and worse over last year, I lost out on so much time for my own personal fitness because of not listening to my body, and because of not respecting and honoring those signals until it was too late, until I'd already hurt myself. And, you know, it definitely derailed me for a long time. And, you know, as a personal trainer, when I'm working one-on-one with clients, I am very rigid about every 4 to 5 weeks, you're going to take a rest week, okay? You're going to take a full week, and that doesn't mean, rest week doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to do anything except for sit on my couch and watch Netflix. It doesn't mean that, okay? You can still go for walks, you know, gentle, like low intensity exercise is still fine, but, you know, I don't want to see you on the stream for high intensity interval training. I don't want to see you here for strength training, you know. And the fact of the matter is, when we rest our bodies, when we allow them that rest time, it helps to strengthen them. It helps them to heal and strengthen. And so when you come back to exercise after that rest, you go, something's different. I feel a little additional power that wasn't there 2 weeks ago, you know, because our bodies need rest, and we're really bad at giving it to them. So make sure that you're putting in the energy to learn how to listen to your body, to learn how to honor what it's telling you, to not get suckered in by the, no pain, no gain bullshit. Because there are different types of pain, and it's a really useful skill to be able to differentiate between them, you know? There's the type of pain that's like, oh man, I had a really good workout and my muscles are really sore today and that feels really good. And there's a pleasure in that. And we can tell the difference. We can tell the difference between that kind of pleasurable, you know, this is the pain of a body well moved, versus oh, that is the pain that feels like an alarm. It feels like a warning system, because it is. Because your body uses pain as one of its warning systems, okay? And if you feel that, if your body is sending up a flare, a cry for help, don't just try and power through it. Don't just try and push through it, push it to the side, because then you're going to injure yourself. And it's obnoxious. It's really annoying. I didn't tell you when the minute passed, so I'm sure that some of you stopped doing the wall sit of your own accord. And some of you might have kept going until I said that, and you should feel real badass right now if you did, because that would be amazing. But my friends, we are almost done. That horn's gonna go off in a second. Yes, you can take a break, and it is fine. Oh man, we're so bad at telling people that. All right, my loves, as soon as you hear that timer, woo, we've made it through class. Good job, everybody. All right, so here's the thing. We're gonna do a little bit of a cool down, not quite a stretch, but a cool down. And we're gonna cool down in the form of calf awareness. So if you've taken class with me before, you know what calf awareness is. If you haven't, don't worry. I will be talking you through it. All you need to know is that when the timer goes off, I want you on your mat, balancing on one foot, flat, that foot flat on the floor. Just timer goes off. Hey, we're balancing. I've lifted my other foot. I'm balancing flat on this one foot. I want to be making any micro adjustments that I need to make for balance using only the foot and the ankle, okay? So no waving the arms around, no wobbling my torso around like a top. So one of the ways that we do that is by making sure that we are engaging all of the stabilizing muscle groups that we can, starting with our core. So again, that controls all of the weight of the torso, so that's not going all over the place. We've got the glute and the quads on the standing leg. That helps to just put a nice lock on everything, basically from the knee to the head. And so the ankle and foot don't have to wrangle all of those, every single different movable part. All right, over to the other foot. So you really can just focus the micro movements on the foot and ankle, because those are small areas, obviously, and the less that they have to manage in terms of your weight, the easier that it is for you to just chill here. Look at us, we're super calm. We didn't really get like huge heart rates going today because this was strength training, but we're chilling, we're hip, we're happening. We're gonna feel things. This is exactly what we don't want to do. See, I let go of my core engagement, my stabilizing muscle group engagement, and my torso started going in that direction, and then I started losing balance, okay? So that's why we like to focus on this. All right, as soon as that timer goes off, we're gonna go back to the first foot, and we are going to balance on it again, but we are going to balance up on the ball of the foot, okay? So the heel is off the ground. You are wearing a very tall stiletto, all right? And the goal is still to manage the micro movements from the ankle and the foot only. However, recognizing that it is a lot harder to do when suddenly the surface area that you're balancing on gets even smaller. So you will probably come up and out, up and down out of this a lot, and that is totally fine, totally normal. You'll see me moving around on the mat each time I come down. It's because my mat is very thick, and so it tends to depress under my foot really easily. And that, you know, adds even more instability. All right, we are now balancing on the other side. That adds even more instability to the whole process. So I do, every time I come down and reset, I try to find a flatter portion of the mat to start that balance on. You know, it may be more psychological than anything, but it is something I do, and it is something that you can feel free to try. The other thing that you will discover here is that you have one side that is much better at balancing than the other. That's totally normal. And every time that you are about to fall out, try and control coming down, bringing that heel down, rather than just letting yourself fall off the mat, okay? All right, now we're going back to that first foot, and we are gonna go back and forth. We're gonna go up on the ball, then back on the heel. Up on the ball, and then back on the heel. And we're just gonna rock back and forth like that, okay? Over and over, up on the ball, back on the heel. When you go back on the heel, you can let your butt come out a little bit, all right? We're not trying to keep our torso straight up and down as we lift those toes. That would be even more intense on the shins than this already is. So let your butt come out. Try not to wiggle around too much on the ground. So again, stabilizing muscle groups. This is a really great way to notice when we let go of the core and what impact that has, okay? So I'm going along and I'm feeling really steady, but then my brain forgets. All right, switching over to the other side. My brain forgets about my core engagement, and suddenly I'm wobbling a lot more. Suddenly it's a lot harder to maintain my rhythm going up and back and up and back. And so when you start to feel that, I want you to check in on your core, on your glutes. Are they still engaged in this process? Or have they sort of taken a break, taken a rest of their own? And if they have, just re-engage them, okay? But really file away in your head what it feels like, what the difference feels like between I've got my core engaged and, oh, I really don't. It's not really a part of that process. All right, last thing. We are up on our heels. Our toes are not coming back down to the ground until the final horn goes off. So you want to try and balance up on your heels. When you need to, you can shift around a little bit like this. You know, you can let your butt come back as you balance, but don't let those toes come down. We are keeping them up the whole time. Your shins are getting in on the party. All right, I know it's called calf awareness, but this last part is definitely shin awareness. But this is the last thing we have to do. And again, remember those stabilizing muscle groups. I love this sequence of exercises because it really provides such a solid object lesson of the difference between when I have my core engaged and I have the weight of my torso under control, and when I forget about it, and then my torso starts moving in directions that my feet aren't expecting, and then everything tends to snowball from there. Hey, look at you! You made it through. Your calves are very aware. Oh my gosh. Hi, everybody. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for such a wonderful active chat today. Thank you for all of your love and support here and every day. You know I love doing these streams, and you know I'm gonna keep doing them. Even in the face of, you know, experiencing peak woman on the internet, we are going to keep going because we're not going to let the bastards grind us down. All right, my loves, there is one more class left this week, and it is going to be tomorrow morning, Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. That is the weekend kickoff class. It's a wonderful strength and stamina focused body weight class. Really lovely way to kick off your weekend. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Facebook and Insta at Blanche Case Fitness, Twitter at Blanche C Fitness. My YouTube channel, Blanche Case Fitness, please go over there and subscribe. That's where all of the VODs from this channel are stored, and there's going to be a lot of additional supplementary content that goes up there, so please head over there, give it a subscribe. If you enjoyed yourself and feel financially able to help support me, I do have a Ko-Fi account at Blanche Case Fitness. Donations are always appreciated, never required. And if you want to help me keep building this up, keep making awesome class streams, and just generally having fun with exercise on the internet, then please do follow this channel. We're coming along, and it's just so exciting. It's so exciting to see it continue to grow week after week. So thank you all so much for being here. Definitely enjoy the rest of your night. Make sure to keep hydrating. Make sure to eat some food. Take a nice celebratory shower. Maybe make some cookies. Who knows? And I'll see at least some of you here tomorrow morning. Mwah. Have a great night.